Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of May 8th, 2025, including Xbox is raising their console and game prices, Gears of War is officially coming to PlayStation, GTA 6 has been delayed to next year, and more. During this week in Xbox history, in the year 2021, 4 years ago, Resident Evil Village was released for the Xbox One, Xbox 3 series. What the hell? How is this game 4 years old already? I played Resident Evil 7, but I have not played Resident Evil Village, which is the 8th entry, or 8th mainline entry. I know people love this one a lot. I know I will like this game. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But yeah, of course, famous for, maybe infamous for, the girl with the hat, the tall zombie chick that all the guys saw and was like, that monster's attractive. And that's all I really know about it, other than it's the continuation of Resident Evil 7. But game looks good. I know it's well received. Can't believe this game is 4 years old. And also, I can't believe 4 years ago was 2021. I'm really gripping with the time that has passed since the pandemic. I know I'm always complaining about how the time's gone too fast in life, but like really the years since the pandemic is like, what the fuck? I think there's like a compounding effect of things going on here where it's like, I think generally everyone can agree that the time since the pandemic has been like a snap, the snap of a finger. It's been just no time at all. You blink and it's been 5 years since COVID happened, which is fucking crazy. But then on top of that, COVID happened not too long after I moved to Florida, which was like my introduction out into the adult world out of college. So I had no more of that structured system of like, you got the spring semester, you got the fall semester, you got the summer break, you got the winter break. So, that structure you have as a youth with school, with like the semesters and the, like, you're living for this break and then that break, and then you complete this semester so you can go on to that semester so you can complete this year and move on to that year. Without that structure in place, just the monotony of adulthood where it's like work, another year's passed, work, another year's passed. It's it takes a lot of the pacing of adulthood or of life and just like accelerates it times 10. And then compounding the adulthood plus COVID thing is the fact that I moved to Florida, which I heard someone say this the other day. I was in a meeting with someone with someone at work, and they were talking to someone else at work who had moved here not too long ago from Wisconsin, and they're doing the Floridian pleasantries, like, how you enjoying the summers, how you enjoy, the summers suck, but the winters you don't miss home when whatever, all the things Floridians say to each other. And one of the things he said that I had never considered that was like so obvious was he's like, one of the things you first learn when you move to Florida is time goes faster living in a place like Florida because you don't have the traditional seasons. It's just summer all the time. So it kind of messes with your brain, and it's just like, it's just like one track. And I was like, that's a really good point. I wonder if the fact that I no longer live in a place that has a distinct spring, summer, fall, winter, if that also accelerates time, because I think it might, because, in Georgia, you don't have like crazy changes in the weather. It's not like, kind of. You have like super hot summers, but I feel like people underestimate how cold it gets in a Georgia winter. And like, plants die, things turn gray and leaves fall and grass dies. Like, so it's summer and winter look very different from one another, in Georgia. And you get spring feels very different from fall. And we do get fall. It's a short fall. I wish it was a longer fall, but you do see the leaves turn orange and the crisp fall air. You get a little bit of that. So I'm used to growing up with uneven seasons, but 4 seasons nonetheless. And in Florida, I would say March feels different from October, feels different from January, feels different from July. But generally speaking, the trees, the grass, the plants, they stay beautiful, blooming, summery, nice year round. Even on the cold days in Florida, it still looks like a beautiful, sunny, tropical getaway everywhere you look. So I wonder if that has something to do with it too. But that 1, 2, 3 of COVID, adulthood, and lack of seasons. I mean, just dude, 5 years. I can't. I literally can't believe it. I know I sound like this is. It's like, dude, shut up. We all get there. This is part of life. Yes, time goes by fast, but it's astonishing to me. I'm struggling with the passage of time and the way it is sped up in the past 5 years of my life. But anyway, this isn't a podcast about lamenting the passage of time and dealing with your mortality. It's rather about Xbox, which is a superficial consumer brand that may very well be dealing with its own mortality as we speak, as they put their most cherished games on PlayStation and up their prices and continue to price and delay and give away their benefits until they are into obscurity and out of relevancy entirely. But we'll get into that, you guys. I jinxed it. Last week I said, oh, this is kind of a slow time for Xbox. We got Doom coming up in a couple weeks, but really there's not a whole lot going. Once that June summer showcase kicks off in a few weeks, that's when we'll get the news back and rolling. But right now is Nintendo's time to shine. There's not a whole lot. Nope, I was wrong. The second after the podcast published last week, nope, I was wrong. Just tons and tons of, oh boy, oh man, it's crazy. Tons of news breaking left and right. Xbox is upping their prices. We'll get into all of it. In fact, this week is going to be a little different because we're going to stay much more focused on the news, and I don't even think we have a comments section. I've just sprinkled comments throughout the podcast, rather. So we got a full show. Let's just get into it. I did want to start with this. Speaking of comments, Compassionate Choice LLC writes in, haven't heard from you in a while, buddy. Welcome back. And says, hey, the last 3 episodes of the podcast have not uploaded to Spotify for me. Can you confirm what's going on, please? Thank you for writing in because I never check the podcast on Spotify. I just assume it's there. And so this comment prompted me to go look into that. And lo and behold, yeah, not only the last 3 episodes, but there have been jumps. It's like episode 302 was there, but then not episode 303 and 304, but then episode 305 was there, but not 306 and 307. So anyway, we got a problem going on here. And I thought I got an email like a week or 2 ago from Spotify for creators that was saying something about like, hey, you have licensed music in your podcast, take it out or we're going to take your show off of Spotify. And I was like, I'm drunk. I'm not really reading that right. And I deleted the email or something. Now I can't find the email. I'm searching deleted boxes, junk folders everywhere. I can't find it. So I'm wondering if it has something to do with that. So what I'm going to do here is at the end of this podcast, I'm not going to use a Sonic song. I'm going to use a generic unlicensed song that like the ones I used to use like back in the old days. And we're going to see if that does the trick and puts the show back on Spotify. But once I'm done recording and editing, I'm going to dig in a little further and see if there's anything else I can figure out because I don't know why the show's not going to Spotify. That is upsetting and unsettling to me. So I gotta do my digging and figure that out. I don't need to lose any more audience than I already have with my goofiness. So come on, Spotify, please get it together, Spotify. So thank you for making me aware of that. Compassionate Choice. Guys, if you're seeing something, say something like Compassionate Choice did. He showed compassion. He chose the compassionate choice in this circumstance where he said, hey, the podcast isn't here. Does Jesse know about this? And brought it to my attention. So if you're seeing something and you think it's worth saying something, do so, please, because that would be the compassionate choice to make. Limited liability company. Goddamn. Learn how to speak, Jesse. Okay, God. All right, guys, let's just hop into it. Notable game releases. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition gets the Three Kingdoms DLC, which is $20 or $17 if you have Game Pass. And then Revenge of a Savage Planet Standard Edition, which is the sequel to, what was it originally called? Journey to a Savage Planet, I think, is out now for $40. I know people really liked the first game. I dabbled in it for like all of 17 minutes and then gave up on it. So I can't speak to the game because I didn't even remotely give it a fair shake, but I know people really like that first one. So definitely some notable experiences there on Xbox, albeit quite light relative to, I don't know, Oblivion Remastered coming out. So a little bit of a break in the action for you there, some time to catch up on your gaming. But aside from that, guys, we just got a shit ton of news. So obviously, Grand Theft Auto 6, Xbox prices, Gears of War on PlayStation 6. I mean, on any given week, any one of these topics would be a massive headliner story, but we literally have, like, after 3 or 4 weeks of pretty boring news, save for Oblivion Remaster, we have like a month's worth of headliners to get through today alone. So let's just, without further ado, we'll start out with some smaller news stories and then talk about the games we've been playing and all that, and then jump into the big stories. Of course, as always, if you just want to hear the takes on the biggest news stories, use those timestamps, jump to where you want to go, because obviously, you know, that the main news segment is the entree of the show, as you are all aware. But let's start out with appetizers for now, guys. So from PureXbox.com, the first version of the Xbox handheld may have just leaked. Yeah, I told you guys, lots of stuff going on. All right, so we've been waiting to hear from Xbox and Asus about their upcoming Xbox handheld for 2025, and it looks like they've been beaten to the punch by a leak from the FCC, revealing a couple of photos and some initial details. These FCC leaks, they don't stop. As reported by Video Cards, or outlet I've never heard of, Asus is set to reveal 2 new ROG Ally devices, their gaming handheld devices, in the near future, including one that is very clearly has an Xbox button on the left-hand side. This is believed to be that Xbox Project Keenan device that we've been hearing about lately, which is ROG or Asus's version of an Xbox handheld. The other ROG Ally device is believed to be the standard ROG Ally 2 that's in development, but reports suggest that the Xbox handheld will actually be more powerful, featuring a Ryzen Z2 Extreme processor with 8 cores and a TDP of 36 watts, complete with 64 gigs of LPDDR5 8533 memory. That's RAM, right? And this is still early days, but you should know to take these leaks not as 100% fact, but consider them with a pinch of salt, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's coming from the FCC leak, so this looks pretty legit, all things considered. It's noted that Asus seems likely to announce both of these devices at the Computex 2025 event, which takes place the week commencing May 19th, so very soon. And so a release date for this could potentially be as soon as June 2025. While it's not a guarantee, this prediction is based on the past 2 ROG Ally device launches, which were in June of their respective years. So, all right, let's just talk about this screenshot. We get this screenshot leak. Someone took it on their phone. You can see a reflection of someone holding a cell phone up to this device. And the device is full of fingerprints, smudges, and dirt. It looks like shit. This is like some R&D device that has been put through hell. Let's talk about it real quick. So it kind of looks like an ROG Ally. In fact, I'm going to pull up a picture for my own reference of the ROG Ally so I can look at them side by side. Because I've seen this device a lot, but I have never held one or used one. So I'm not in depth, like super familiar with it. But the ROG Ally, it has contouring and I guess some ergonomics to it, but it doesn't have like actual controller handles. This device looks like it has proper controller handles, almost like the PlayStation Portal device. And the analog sticks look like they are ripped directly off an Xbox controller. Nothing else about it really looks Xboxy. In fact, I think the regular ROG Ally, it looks like it has more of an Xbox D-pad than this does. But yes, there is an Xbox logoed button that is not shaped like the Xbox button, but it is a weird, like, choppy looking, upside down triangle looking button, but it has the Xbox logo on it, next to the select or back button or whatever you want to call it on the left-hand side of the device. Otherwise, it just looks like a really beat up, tattered, modified ROG Ally device. So remember, let's keep in mind for perspective, the rumors have been that Asus is working on an Xbox handheld device of their own, but Xbox is working on a from the ground up remade proprietary Xbox handheld as well, that will be released by Xbox, but that won't be until probably 2027 or so. So this is not the from Xbox next generation handheld or next generation console device, but it is an officially licensed and partnered device between Asus and Microsoft. So keep in mind, this isn't, I saw people online kind of like, whoa, this is crazy, it's leaking, it's happening. It's like, okay, well, this isn't like Nintendo Switch 2 leaking. This is something entirely different. It's new for Xbox because Xbox is coming into this territory of what I've been saying they're going to be doing for a long time, what I've been predicting, which is this, they're taking this Windows Phone or Microsoft Surface approach where it's like, okay, if you want a Windows device that's made by Microsoft, here's the Microsoft Surface. If you want a Windows Phone that's made by Microsoft, here's the Microsoft Lumia. But if you want a Windows Phone, you can get one from many of our other partners like Samsung or Blue or whatever, If you want a if you want a Windows computer, a computer that runs Windows and isn't necessarily the expensive premium Microsoft version, you can get a fucking Lenovo or a Dell or whatever you want, So that's kind of the idea here, is that now that everything is an Xbox, and now that the platform floodgates have opened, and they're just being more, I guess, just more democratic about the Xbox platform. The idea is that why can't a company like Asus make an Xbox handheld? Hell, why couldn't PlayStation make an Xbox console if they chose to do so, which they obviously will never choose to do so. So you can assume to see that we'll see more and more things like this in the future. I think what would be way more interesting and ridiculous to see would be like if they let other companies make Xbox like home consoles. Can you imagine if it's like, here's the Samsung version of the Xbox, and you can buy, it's like a Xbox Series S or X alternative, but it's made by Samsung. That would be fucking wild, but we could be getting to that future, that reality. And yeah, so I mean that's really what this is. So it's like kind of a half step. Like I don't think this is anything where you gotta get too excited. Now I would be curious to see what the device is like once it's turned on. Does it have some special operating system that's night and day different from the regular ROG Ally? Is it gonna have an Xbox skin and really feel like an Xbox hardware or software experience when you boot this thing up? Or is it like an ROG Ally with a little bit of Xbox touches and stuff to like kind of appeal to those fans and those users? I'm very curious to see that. I think that will be more of a telling sign of whether or not this is like kind of some half step into the next generation of Xbox, or if it's just kind of like some wink and a nod to their partners. But very curious to see how that goes. Nonetheless, I feel like until we see an official announcement, we get to see this thing in action being used. I don't have too much more to say about it, but this time clearly the device is happening. Clearly it's real. Whatever. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's happening. But yeah, it's cool. It doesn't look great. I don't think the device, even if I can think past the fact that this is a worn out, beat up version of the device, I just think ergonomically and aesthetically, it doesn't look all that pretty. But who cares? As long as it feels good in the hand and plays well and does the things you want it to, I guess that's really what matters. But let's move on from that for now. It sounds like we might hear a lot more about that very soon. So hopefully we do, and we get to have some deeper thoughts based on what the device is like when it's on and running. And let's talk about a game I love that has not been getting a whole lot of discussion, South of Midnight. So from VGC, South of Midnight developer Compulsion Games has said that their role at Xbox is not to make blockbuster games like Call of Duty, as it shares early player milestones of the action-adventure game they recently released. According to CEO of Compulsion, Guillaume Provost, fuck these fucking French names, French Canadian motherfucker. The game has attracted more than 1 million players in its first 3 weeks on the market. It's unclear how many of those 1 million players have come from Game Pass versus full sales, but South of Midnight's peak Steam player count was just 1,483 players, suggesting that more have come from the subscription than from purchases. Now, when asked about his feelings of South of Midnight's performance so far, he said that to Game Rant in an interview. I can confidently say we've had more than 1 million players of South of Midnight since its release. In comparison, Hi-Fi Rush attracted 2 million players in the first 5 weeks of its availability, according to Bethesda, and Rebellion's Atomfall, which recently released, cleared 2 million players in around 2 weeks on the market. Obsidian's Avowed is estimated to have reached a huge 6 million players in its opening month. And then Compulsion CEO went on to highlight how he views the studio's role with Microsoft and stated that he also believes that Microsoft is not here to make blockbuster games like Call of Duty with teams like Compulsion, but also to provide games that add distinctiveness, where we can either serve audiences that we haven't been served before, or create projects and add diversity to the portfolio. He added, "I'm passionate about it being part of the mission for the studio moving forward into the future in terms of what audience, what experiences, and what areas of the world will represent next. I cannot tell you, but I think it's important that the role at Xbox for us is to be a brand that appeals to people from all walks of life." So I love this. This is CEO Guillaume Provost speaking out of both sides of his mouth, just like his boss's boss, Phil Spencer. So it's like father like son, I suppose. But listen, not to be disrespectful to this guy, I loved South of Midnight. I think Compulsion have clearly proven that they're capable of making very special products, and I look forward to a future where Compulsion sticks around and gets to continue to do more creative things like this, because I very much enjoyed my time with this video game. Now, with all due respect, I just gotta say, here's the thing. You can't have this kind of conversation and expect audiences to receive it well when you have Hi-Fi Rush staring you in the face. Because here's the reality of the situation. If you told me 2 or 3 years ago that, yeah, the idea with Game Pass is that you're going to be able to serve all markets. Microsoft has to really do 90% of the legwork supporting a program like Game Pass. It's nice to have the third parties. It's nice to have the games that come and go on the service from time to time. But the bread and butter, the 90% of the reason most people will be there is for those first-party games that go into Game Pass, stay there forever, and give people a reason to subscribe, stick around, and invest in this platform. And so I loved the idea. And we used to talk about it on the podcast, right? This idea that, oh, you know, you subscribe for a Halo or a Starfield, but you stick around because in addition to those big tentpole adventures, you're also going to get these beautiful, unexpected games of discovery like a Hi-Fi Rush or a South of Midnight, where maybe you wouldn't have spent $50-$60 on that game by its own if you had to buy all your games. But because it's included in Game Pass, you'll think to yourself on a weekend when you don't have too much going on, hey, why the hell not? Let's give this game a go. And then you'll discover in an organic and natural way your next favorite video game, and that can be the beauty of Game Pass, is that it can support the Marvel Cinematic Universe tentpole style releases alongside the indie art film and the romance movies and the horror films that have much, much smaller audiences, but nonetheless a dedicated and fervorous fan base. And by serving all aspects of this market, you can really have a robust and curated catalog of games that will appeal to a wide range of players and make Game Pass a really attractive platform and proposition for the entirety of the Xbox fan base and then some. However, all of that logic went out the fucking window when Hi-Fi Rush came out, and it became immediately apparent that having a game that was unique, had a unique art style, had a unique gameplay mechanic, had a unique genre, really, and a unique twist on an existing genre, and was a huge breath of fresh air, and something that was critically adored and beloved by those who experienced it, and then immediately shutting down that studio, selling off the game, and saying, fuck it, we're a business at the end of the day. Listen, we love Hi-Fi Rush. We love Tango Gameworks, but at the end of the day, we are a business. We have to make money, and something had to get cut off the floor here. Something had to get chopped, and unfortunately, these guys are the ones who had to go. So it's like, okay, so here's the thing is, are you big bad Microsoft with endless money pouring out, and you can afford to keep less profitable teams around, like a Compulsion, like a Tango Gameworks, so they can give us games like Hi-Fi Rush and give us games like South of Midnight? Or are you a for-profit business that can only justify big investments with big rewards and bigger projects like a Halo and a Gears of War and a Call of Duty and a Starfield and a Forza Horizon? Because at the end of the day, your daddy is like Disney, and they want to see that Avengers Endgame money, and they don't want no fucking flops. They don't need to find out that your Seven Dwarfs remake that nobody ever wanted to see sucks, and that you're making no money at the box office, and so someone's got to lose their job as a result of it. You know, it's like one of those things where we got to make the thing make business sense. We're not here to just be artistic and make a statement and be like respected and beloved by the community. We're here to make money, grow the business, please investors and shareholders. And so it's just this, you're saying this one thing, I like what I'm hearing, I want to believe you, but I'm looking at the history, the very, very recent history, and the things do not coexist because they're in conflict with one another. And so that's all I can say about this. I loved South of Midnight. I hope against all odds that Compulsion Games is safe, they get to live another day, and that they not only get to continue to make games, but they get to continue to make games like this, build on this. I'm not saying you have to make South of Midnight too, but you guys are really good at these action-adventure, beautiful, rich, detailed worlds, linear style platformer games. give us more of those. Work on the things you didn't nail with South of Midnight, so you can nail them for the next game, and take the things that you did that worked great and expand upon them for the next game. I want to see another game that's like Contrast, that's like South of Midnight. Let's go, Compulsion. But are we going to get that, or is Microsoft going to shut you down because they can't look at the numbers that Call of Duty Black Ops 24 is doing compared to South of Midnight and say, yep, we can justify marketing, developing, investing in both of these projects at the same time? They both make sense for us. Doesn't work that way. So I don't know what to make of it. To me, 1 million players engaged when your game's available for purchase on PC and Xbox, in addition to being available on Game Pass for PC and Xbox. I think that sounds like a huge failure. I think anything less than 2 or 3 million engagements in those first few weeks would have been a huge failure. And to me, I can't read this as anything other than South of Midnight is a complete flop commercially, which breaks my heart because, again, I really adore this game, and I think more of the world should give it a try, and this game deserves more recognition and appreciation than it has received. But we have to look objectively at what's going on here, and I think there's no denying that South of Midnight has been a big stinking turd in terms of its performance. And for that, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to be realistic and rational in an industry where we're fucking trigger happy on firing people left and right. Oh boy, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the headline pretty damn soon that Compulsion Games is being hit with layoffs or shut down or whatever the case may be. Just don't, don't say I didn't tell you so, or I don't say I told you so, or whatever the fucking saying is. What the hell? How do I not know that one? What am I, 10? What am I 1,000 years old? Anyway, let's move on because we got a lot of things to talk about. So speaking of Microsoft saying, hey, don't buy an Xbox, buy a PlayStation. Microsoft says that it was the top publisher on the PlayStation storefront for pre-orders and pre-installs in the first quarter of the year. During an earnings call on Wednesday for the company's financial results for fiscal year 25, quarter 3, covering January to March of the year, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella noted that the company's games had the most pre-orders and pre-installs on both the PlayStation Store and Xbox Store during that period. In fact, a little side note here, the latest monthly download chart posted from the official PlayStation blog shows that in both the US and Canada and European regions, the 3 best-selling paid games on PlayStation 5 for April of 2025 were Microsoft-owned studio games. In the US and Canada, the top 3 games of April were Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, Minecraft, and Forza Horizon 5. Meanwhile, in Europe, it was in this order: Forza Horizon 5, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, and Minecraft. Same games, different order, because the Europeans love cars and the Americans love whacking things with swords. But nonetheless, I mean, fuck, Microsoft is the biggest publisher on PlayStation right now. No surprise there, really, with the games they're putting out, and the fact that they're putting out games every 2 seconds, and the fact that, wow, look, Indiana Jones didn't even make the list. I wonder if that's number 4 or 5 on the list. God, what's going on here? Apparently, that sold really well on PlayStation, too, so who knows? The company's also reported that gaming revenue grew 5% compared to the same period previous year, while Xbox content and services revenue grew 8%, driven by growth in Game Pass, Call of Duty, and Minecraft. However, here we go. However, it's noted that Xbox hardware revenue declined 6% year over year, further highlighting the company's shift in strategy remaining in the hardware business, but also making games available on multiple non-Xbox platforms. Quote, we continue to transform the business and focus on the margin expansion as we bring our games to over 500 million monthly active users across devices, Nadella said in a call. We ended the quarter as the top publisher of pre-orders and pre-installs on Xbox and PlayStation. PC Game Pass revenue increased 45% year over year. That's wild. In Xbox Play Anywhere, players can now access more than 1,000 games and can play across console and PC. And just last week, we brought cloud gaming to LG TVs. Cloud gaming set a new record, surpassing 150 million hours played for the first time this quarter. That's a bullshit fact right there. Who cares? That's just nonsense numbers. All right, let's talk about the things that actually matter here. So this time last year, Xbox hardware was already in the fucking dumpster, and now it's dropped a further 6%, which is actually, in my opinion, in my observation, less of a decline than I expected year over year. So I'm actually surprised. I mean, don't get me wrong, Xbox hardware is selling abysmal right now, but I expected it to be a bigger drop this year than 6%, especially considering it's been about 6 months. Really, it's been about a year since we started getting Xbox games extensively put on PlayStation. So that's interesting. However, I think what's obvious here is First of all, gaming revenue and gaming revenue is up a lot because they're putting games on other platforms. Although I'm a little surprised that that's only 5%. I thought that would be a little more than 5%. But what's really interesting to me is that gaming content services is up 8%, which means Game Pass subscriptions are up. Obviously, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 last fall spiked that number a bunch, but you would think that it fell off a fucking cliff since then. But it seems like maybe these past, pushing all these games out in April, that was them trying to finish up their fiscal quarter. They're pretty strong, I would assume. And it sounds like, oh wait, no, because it ended in March. So I don't know why maybe they're trying to start the next fiscal quarter 4 very, very strong. But anyway, that must be what they're doing. They're trying to end the year strong by obliterating Q4 with new releases. But anyway, what was I going to say? I got myself all twisted up. Yeah, I mean, Game Pass is clearly doing better and better on especially PC, but this is great. Maybe Call of Duty kicked it off, and then games like Avowed and South of Midnight and Atomfall and upcoming Doom and all that stuff are helping keep the Game Pass subscriptions steady and strong, which is surprising to see because that stuff's been flat and down in recent, honestly, years. So to see it kind of starting to climb up is a good sign. Good sign for Xbox. That's great. Don't know really what else to say this. We can get into it more when we talk about Gears of War in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, this isn't going to end. Hardware is going to continue to decline. Revenue for software and services is going to continue to go up, especially for software. So I mean, just I'm tired of having this conversation because it's purely speculative, but it's like, I don't know how they're going to justify keeping the hardware around. I will support it as long as it's around. I like the hardware. I want it to be there. But like with the news we're about to discuss, it's like, I can't wait to see what happens next quarter with hardware. But anyway, we'll get there. Hang on a second. Guys, let's wrap up our small news stories. Take a break, talk about the games I've been playing this week, and then we'll hop into the big news stories. But before I can tell you about the games I've been playing this week, I first got to tell you about what it is I've been eating. And I'll make it short and sweet, guys. So McDonald's has brought back chicken tenders, but they're not the tenders you knew from, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. It's something entirely new. It's the McCrispy chicken tenders. And they have a new signature sauce to go with it. What is it? It's a creamy chili sauce or something like that. I forget what it is. It's really good. The sauce is really, really good. So I got these things. I'm a sucker for it. Listen, I love McDonald's. I like chicken. I'm a basic white boy. I love chicken tenders. So I decided to give these bad boys a try. Still pissed I can't find that Minecraft McFlurry anywhere. I think that's gone by now. I see the Minecraft Happy Meal and toys and all that, but I can't find that McFlurry. Anyway, I tried the McCrispy tenders. First of all, these things are so fucking overpriced. Doesn't matter how good or bad they are. I'm not buying these things again. They were almost $6 for a 4-piece. That's bullshit. Fuck that. No. This is a one and done just for the novelty of saying, hey, I tried it. But here's the thing about these tenders. They are good. I enjoyed them. They look ugly as hell. They're good, but the thing is, it is the first thing I think I've ever eaten at a McDonald's where I'm like, that does not taste like McDonald's. Now, it doesn't taste like your typical run-of-the-mill Cisco chicken tender you get at fucking every fucking Checkers, Sonic, Dairy Queen, whatever kind of restaurant. But it does taste distinctive and like its own thing. But it just, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to describe it. But like, the Big Mac tastes like the Big Mac. A chicken nugget at McDonald's tastes like a McDonald's chicken nugget and nothing else. McDonald's French fries, of course, the pinnacle example. Nothing tastes like a McDonald's French fry except for a McDonald's French fry. They are very, very good at what they do in terms of creating food items that taste distinct. I hate when people are like, oh, that burger was garbage. It's just crappy, shitty food like McDonald's. It's like, yeah. I hate when people compare like a crappy, mediocre run-of-the-mill cheeseburger to like McDonald's, where it's like, no, because the difference is McDonald's tastes like McDonald's and nothing else tastes like that, for better and for worse. Go into a shitty hole-in-the-wall restaurant that served you a crappy burger, that's just a crappy burger. These are different things. You don't have to like McDonald's, but you cannot deny that they have mastered their own style of these items. They have defined what it is to be a French fry, a burger, a chicken nugget by the standards of McDonald's unique taste and flavor profile. So the thing about the McCrispy chicken tenders is while they don't taste like generic Cisco frozen chicken tenders, and while they don't taste like they don't taste bad at all. In fact, they're decent. They're solid. If they were cheaper, I'd say they're good and I would get them again. They just don't taste like they belong on the McDonald's menu, and I just wish I had a better way to explain that, but I just don't. And so I'll say the McCrispy chicken tenders, definitely worth a try. If you're curious about them, next time you're at McDonald's, give them a go. Not bad. But do they belong at McDonald's? I don't know. Will they stay at McDonald's? I don't think so. I think this is going to be like a fucking, a limited time trend thing, and then they're going to go away. But that sauce they come with, that new creamy chili whatever sauce it is, that shit's good. It's good on french fries. It's good on sandwiches. It's great on chicken. I like that sauce a lot. I would get that sauce again. So shout out to that sauce. It reminds me of the creamy sriracha they have at Wendy's, which is like the only thing I like about Wendy's at all is that creamy sriracha sauce. So shout out to that. But yeah, that's it for what I've been eating. The McCrispy chicken tenders at McDonald's. They're fine. I didn't realize that this was like a trend hopping thing at first. I was just like, oh yeah, of course they're bringing back chicken tenders. Why not? And until someone pointed out, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is just them kind of like joining the Raising Cane's hype train a little bit. I didn't even realize that. Anyway, I gave in. I did it. I did what they wanted. I consumed. They were fine. All right, guys, that's it for what I've been eating. Now, let's talk about what I've been playing. Dude, I've been all over the fucking map. We'll talk about 2 games, because there's really 2 games I've been playing legitimately and extensively, but I've been playing Towerborn, I've been playing Animal Crossing, I've been playing Mario Kart 8, I've been playing Splatoon 3, I've been playing Metroid Dread again. I've been playing a lot of games. This is one of those good weekends where I did not go out a lot, did not spend a lot of money. I sat my ass in my loft all weekend long and played Switch and Xbox. It was like switching off with these 2 beautiful young boys. It's like I'm what is it? The father of the Catholic Church, and these are my young choir boys, and I'm taking turns with both of them. It was just, oh hey Nintendo, oh hey Xbox, and it was a wonderful time. Wow, that's a weird thing to say. Anyway, the 2 games I've been playing this week, and we'll get into them each: Oblivion Remastered and Super Mario Wonder. So Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Okay. Let's talk about Oblivion first. It's an Xbox podcast. It's probably the one most people are interested in hearing about. A lot of people were like, it's still an old game. It's still Oblivion, despite the updated visuals and some quality of life things. It's still an old game underneath it all. I don't think this game will be as accessible as people are thinking it will be. And I was a little apprehensive about this game going into it because of hearing that. But no, I think this game is... I think there's a lot of truth to that statement, let me say. But I like this game a lot. I think it's good. In fact, I think it's great. I wish I could have played it more, but my girlfriend's addicted to fucking Fortnite, and I can't play my Xbox half the time because every time I try to get on Xbox, it's like someone else is already playing, and I'm like, great, back to Switch I go. But anyway, I started playing it. I'm really only like 3 hours in, so I really haven't played a lot, but I am already playing this game the way I played Starfield, the way I played Skyrim, the way I played Fallout 4, the way I play any of these kinds of games, which is I am just beelining that main quest line. I'm ignoring the exploration, the open world. I'm ignoring all the hidden paths and things I can explore and experiences I can stumble upon and side quests there are to experience. All of it out the fucking window. I'm just beelining that main quest line, and I'll see what else there is to see after the credits roll, because this is the kind of motherfucker I am with these games. I know it drives people nuts. Why? How could you play a game like this in that way? Watch me, bitch. But here's my take on Oblivion Remastered. First of all, the game looks great. For a game that is not a complete from the ground up remake, that is just like the visuals have been, like the assets have been reworked and everything like that. It really looks like a game that, not the most groundbreaking next-gen game, but it looks like a game that is modern. It has been modernized. I remember what Oblivion looks like on Xbox 360. I've seen, recently screenshots and videos comparing the new look to the old look, and what they've done here, in my opinion, is nothing shy of a beautiful, painstaking love letter to the original game that has faithfully brought it up to date and modernized it. I know people complain about the color desaturation of this version of the game. I personally do not have that gripe with it, but then again, I do not have that experience and affinity for the original version, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I largely am very impressed with the game, the way the game looks and the way the game feels. It feels just fine. It feels really moment to moment, for the most part, feels no better or worse than like how I remember Skyrim playing. Obviously, the combat itself is not miraculous. It is very underwhelming, but it is entirely serviceable, just like it is in Skyrim. So that's not a problem at all. But I will say off the bat, I know what people are talking about when they say this game has an old game feel, like there's still some of that old game baked underneath it. And it's just like comparing this to Starfield or Skyrim or Fallout 4, I can feel that. Like the game just does a lot of like old D&D, old like nerdy fantasy game shit where it's like, it's like in Skyrim, if a quest updated, it would be like in the corner of your map or the corner of your screen, you would see like the objective update, and it would be like, speak to the King of Elves and travel through Midgard to find the Earl of Sandwich or whatever. And you'd be like, okay. And then like the game would do like the gong drum. It'd be like, dong. And then like something would flash across the screen. It'd be like quest update. And like the scroll would come out and it would have that like Call of Duty level up dopamine hit that would make you feel like, ooh, cool. I did something. I accomplished something. Oh, here's an update. Here's what I do next. Right. And then you would like follow the map marker to go to the next place. Right. But in this game, it's very like old school D&D kind of antiquated and quaint the way it kind of does things, where it's like you complete a quest or you have a major turning point in a quest where something updates and then like the gameplay just pauses and then like script pops up and it's like, you hand over the chalice of virginity and the man thanks you heavenly and billows you towards the cellar where he's keeping many, many women locked away and your objective has been updated. And then you like press the pause menu and you go to the quest tab and you like select off the side quest that it's trying to auto quest you to, and you go back to the main quest and you track that quest, and then you read the quest update and it's like, no, you got to talk to Dan the fisherman and retain the knowledge of 7 dwarves. And it's like, okay. And so you start reading that, and then it's like, okay, let me mark that on the map now so I can go track that thing. And it's a little less guided, it's a little less cinematic, it's a little less like the game kind of naturally being like, congratulations, you did a thing, here's where we want to guide you towards next. It's a little less handholdy. It's a little more like, here's some updates, dig through some menus, read some text, go click on a place, go figure out what to do next. So it has stuff like that. Or like I went through the first gate of Oblivion and you're going through the tower and there's just all these like doors you can go in, but all the doors look like shit and you don't know which one you're supposed to go through, and it's easy to just kind of get lost because the game does kind of a piss poor job of naturally guiding you when you're in the middle of something that's more of a linear scripted moment of like kind of being like, hey, here's where you should go. It lets you get lost and explore a little more, which some people might see as a pro. I kind of see as a con because I like linearity, and so I see some things like that are a little more old school. Or the one thing that I see in this game that's a little more like old school that I actually really admire and appreciate about it is that famous Bethesda just jank and quirkiness that people love, that's been memed forever, that I think genuinely will never be recaptured. And I think is part of this burden that Bethesda has to bear, which is that no matter how good the next Elder Scrolls or Fallout or Starfield game is, you can't recreate that magic because they become too refined and matured of a developer to be able to have this kind of natural, inherent, old school, quaint jank that they used to have. And trying to put it into the game would be artificial and come off as inauthentic. So it's kind of like this double-edged sword thing where you look back on a game like Oblivion, and so much of what made it tick and what made it special is that goofiness of like, you talk to a guy and they're like, I will not go with you until you free these people. I've obligation to this hold and I will keep these people safe. And then like you complete the dialogue and then immediately he's like, ow, ow, ow. And someone else is like, feel my wrath, and attacks him or something like that. And it's just really janky because you can feel this like, wow, in 2006, this was so groundbreaking because the characters were interacting with the world and they could interact with you and you could have branching dialogue. And it was so cool how you could talk to an NPC who you're supposed to retrieve a quest, get a quest from. And then you're having this conversation about something that's going on in the game. But then when you're done talking to them, they don't stay still like some unanimated NPC, useless piece of crap. They actually begin to interact with the world and they can have a conversation with the barkeep, or they could get attacked by a bandit or something like that. And in theory and on paper, it's so cool. And to see a game attempt to do something like that in 2006 on the Xbox 360, it was so next generation. It was so envelope pushing. It was so new and novel and exciting. But looking at a game where they've tried to preserve that and not modernize or touch it too much in 2025, it's just so funny and it's so antiquated the way it operates, because you really do see things happen where like you're just talking to a guy and he's all like, I will stay here and wait for you to return. And then like you finish your dialogue and then he like clips through a wall and goes, oh, and falls to his death or something like that, because the game is a janky, buggy little, like, not like buggy like, oh, the game's broken, I can't play it, but buggy like, oh my god, this funny thing happened, and it made my experience more enriching as a result, and I'm going to tell my friends about this silly thing that happened in Oblivion, and it's going to put a smile on my face, it's going to get them interested in the game, and the game had this very unintended positive consequence of its jank, of its primitiveness, that allowed it to become this beloved thing that it's known for. And I'm really appreciative that they retained so much of that and understood that that's what made the game special in a lot of ways. And it's cool to get to experience that myself. And even in this modernized package where you can sprint and the graphics look much better and the visuals are improved and things have been touched up and modernized, they've really kept the bones and the integrity of the original game intact so that new players like myself can experience that. And it feels like I'm discovering it and enjoying it just the way that I imagined someone did in 2006 when they played the game for the first time. And so from that standpoint, I really love this game. And it's funny coming fresh off Avowed into this because I liked Avowed. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a pretty good game. I thought it deserved a little more love than it got. And I look forward to an Avowed 2 should we get one. But, playing Oblivion Remastered did kind of instantly remind me of and validate, I think, a lot of the criticisms others had about Avowed, where I'm not eloquent and nuanced enough and intelligent enough to be able to pinpoint exactly why, but I can feel what it is people are talking about, where they're like, Avowed just isn't as alive. The world doesn't feel as lived in or fun to explore, and the game isn't inviting you as much to just kind of get lost in it as much as a game like Skyrim or Oblivion does. And I feel that playing this, where even though I really enjoyed Avowed, especially as a game where I just focused on the main quest line and nothing more really, I really enjoyed that. I had a great time with that experience that was curated for the player in Avowed. But in a game like Oblivion, I just feel that same feeling I had when I played Skyrim for the first time and really got sucked in, which is like, there's just something about this world. I don't know what it is. Is it the visuals? Is it the music? Is it the feel? Is it the jank? Is it just the writing? I don't know what it is, but it kind of sucks you in. And there is I think the what am I trying to say? The Bethesda Game Studios formula works so darn good, particularly for these fantasy games. I like Starfield the best of their games, but particularly I cannot deny for these fantasy games, their style of game works so well because it adds this deep level of immersion that also feels very comfy and cozy. And it's actually really, I think it's really benefiting me to kind of see this and observe this at a time where I'm also playing Animal Crossing New Horizon on my Switch, because Animal Crossing is a game that you play entirely for the vibes. That is what Animal Crossing is built upon. That's its purpose. It's a game that's meant to be played for 20, 45 minutes a day, and you just tend to your garden and you pick some weeds and you do some fishing and you pay off a little bit of your mortgage and you chat with your neighbor and you enjoy some cozy music, and then you sign off and say, see you tomorrow, town. And there's something really, really cozy about that Animal Crossing package, the way the characters talk, the look, the feel of the game, the music, and all of that. And I think that Oblivion, Skyrim, Bethesda Game Studios games in particular really have that feeling, not the Animal Crossing feeling, but a similar feeling of, this is just a very cozy game. I feel like if I was having a day where I was very anxious, or I had a very stressful day, or I had a time where I just needed to unwind and be by myself and just really get lost in something and feel distracted, dude, like a cold, rainy night, wrapped up in a blanket, drinking some coffee and playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, I feel like that would be, as the kids would say, that would be a vibe. It's I don't know how to put it. It's really compelling. It's a really compelling feeling you get. It's immersive and it's really comforting. And there's something about that. I can't put my finger on it, but I can identify that the product makes me feel that way. And so I think it's really important. We're saying Oblivion makes me feel that way. Now I'm 3 hours in. I got a lot to see. I got a lot to experience ahead of me. And I look forward to playing more of this game. But my assumption is that I'm going to walk away from this game really enjoying it. There've already been a couple little things where I'm like, this is a little frustrating. That's a little obtuse. I don't really understand what it's trying to do here, and I'm happy to look up a guide or watch a video or stop and think about the things at my disposal to kind of figure out what to do, where to go, who to talk to, because I think at the end of the day, yeah, Oblivion's a little more primitive than a game like Skyrim, but it has the same core, at its core, still the same kernel of that special thing that Bethesda does, and I think it's totally worth experiencing. As someone who's brand new to Oblivion, I think the thing that people found so special about it in 2006 is still here for people like me to discover as a first-time player in 2025 with this remake. And for that, I think this game so far seems to really succeed in achieving what it sets out to do, and I really look forward to my time with Oblivion. And keep in mind, I've been really sucked into Nintendo lately. All I've wanted to do is play Mario Wonder, play Splatoon 3, play Metroid Dread. I had to intentionally pull myself away from my Switch, force myself to play this game because I want to be able to experience it and talk about it on the podcast. And after an hour or so playing this game, I comfortably was like, you know what? I can juggle this game with my Switch games right now. I'm good. This is fun. I like this. And I'm sucked back in. Now I want to play my Xbox. Now I want to play this game because even though I've been stuck in la Switch land, this game did a great job of pulling me out and saying, oh, no. You want to play this too. Trust me. It's good. And I really enjoy what I've seen so far. So that's Oblivion Remastered. Still early days. Still a lot more to see and do. But the other game I've been playing, and I'll try to keep this briefer because it's not an Xbox game, but Mario Wonder. Super Mario Wonder. Now, I have been playing Towerborn a little bit, which is the other big Xbox game that came out recently, but I've played like literally 45 minutes of it. So when I get back to it for realsies, we'll talk about it again, but I just really don't want to talk about it with, no intention of getting back to it in the next couple weeks. This upcoming weekend, I'm going out of town to visit my father, so I'm going to be in fucking Kansas City for the next 4 days of my life, and then taking a little time off work to go see the new Universal theme park and stuff. So I'm going to be out of video games for roughly the next week, so I'm not coming back to Towerborn anytime too soon, and I really want to get back to Oblivion when the gaming time comes back to me. So I'll just talk about Towerborn at a later date, but I have been dabbling in it, and I do want to get back to it. From what I've seen, it's a good time. But the other game I've been playing mostly is Super Mario Wonder, and boy, oh fucking boy. Here's the thing about this game is when it came out in the fall of 2023, it was the first Switch game in a long time that I was like, dude, I gotta dust off the Switch and play this game. Mario is my favorite video game franchise. I fucking love 3D Mario in particular, but 2D Mario is also excellent. I can't wait for this game. But at the same time, Sonic Superstars was coming out, which was similarly a brand new 2D Sonic game. And the thing is, on top of all of that, I was in the process of moving out of my apartment and moving into my house, taking ownership of, purchasing a home for the first time, which was an exciting but very stressful and time-consuming endeavor, no doubt. And so that fall of 2023 was a lot. And I remember being like, all right, there are some games coming out this fall that are just not going to make it on my list of games because time, because money, because of stress. I honestly am not in the headspace for it right now. So I remember I didn't really play anything in them. And then a little bit after we moved, I settled in. And one of the first things I set up when we moved into the house was the TV with the Xbox. But the Switch was still in a box for about a month after we moved. So I was like, I want to play Mario Wonder. I know that's going to be the better game. But the Switch is in storage. I really don't want to spend too much money. Sonic Superstars is a little cheaper than Mario Wonder. I already got the Xbox set up. You know what? I love Sonic. Let's do Sonic Superstars first, and we'll come back to Mario Wonder. And, it's just one of those things. One thing led to another. Trying to be frugal. Just moved into a house. Kind of broke. Kind of don't want to spend money on video games. So I got Sonic Superstars, enjoyed that game, played the hell out of it, and then Mario Wonder just became one of those things that it just kind of got away from me. I am ashamed as a diehard Mario fan to say it took me a year and a half to finally play Mario Wonder. That game's been out for over a year now, but I finally gotten around to it, and I gotta say, this game is just as good as I thought it would be, just as good as others said it was, and then possibly even a little better than that. This game is phenomenal to the point where I'll say early impressions. I'm only on world 3 of 6 right now, so I'm almost halfway through the game. I will say this is possibly the best 2D Mario of all time. If you came up to me and said, oh, the best 2D Super Mario Brothers game ever made is Super Mario Wonder, I'd say that's good. That's a good pick. It's a good, pretty strong pick. I know most people would say, "Oh, Super Mario World, the SNES. I'm a '90s kid, the SNES." Yeah, we know. Shut up. We know. And don't get me wrong, I'm with you. I love Super Mario World. I think Super Mario World is one of the great games of all time. I adore that game. Probably my favorite 2D Mario game as well. I don't think I've ever really thought about it that deeply. But I'm trying to think, like, of the best 2D Mario games I've ever played, this is instantly up there. I mean, I think my favorite 2D Mario games, Super Mario World on SNES, New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS, that was a great one. All the other New Super Mario Bros. Games are really good, but not as good. So when it comes to 2D Mario, I mean, yeah, it might be in no particular order. Super Mario World, New Super Mario Bros. On DS, and now Mario Wonder on Switch. Like, this game is phenomenal. It understands everything that was getting stale about 2D Mario games and says, okay, we can do better. Its level design, I mean, is like absolutely top notch. This is Super Mario level design at its absolute highest form possible. Like, again, maybe it falls off a cliff, maybe some of the later levels just suck, but I mean, the level of creativity and just novelty and fun and just interesting things to see and do and interact with in this game are never ending. This game is so ridiculous. Dude, the second level of the video game, the second level of this game is a level where every step you take is a note and the game interacts with it. And the faster you run, the more the plants and the enemies and the world start to play music and sing. And the whole level is like a song that's in sync with the way you move. And it's fucking insane. And then it has these wonder seeds that you collect in every level. And then when you collect the wonder seed, the whole level becomes a fucking drug trip. And it's ridiculous. You can, like, water goes upside down and you can run through water and swim through air, and you get a fucking fireball power, but it blows bubbles, and all the new enemy varieties are insane, and the warp pipes start to squirm away like worms for some goddamn reason. And the game is just insane. And the amount, first of all, the new art style is beautiful. I love the new art style. It looks phenomenal. Environments, characters, everything looks so much more animated and alive. And then speaking of animated, they added so much more animation to this game that adds so much charm, so much flair to it. I love when you run through a warp pipe and Mario, like, jumps in, and then, like, his hat goes flying, and then you see his hand, like, reach out the warp pipe and grab the hat like Indiana Jones and pull it back in with him. And it's like, that's such a cute, fun little touch. And it's just like so many little things like that where the game just has so much charm, so much character. It's oozing. And I think this is so extra special because after years on the Wii and the DS and the 3DS and the Wii U of it being like New Super Mario Bros., New Super Mario Bros. U, New Super Mario Bros. 2, New Super Mario Bros. Luigi, whatever, you know, just more and more and more of this same game. It was almost like these New Super Mario Bros. Were just like, here's more levels. And then at the end of the Wii U and on the Switch generation, they gave us Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 2, and it was like, here, make your own Mario levels. It got to this point in time where it was like, all right, we've had a lot of 2D Mario. Have we reached the peak of what we can do with these levels, this level design? And then they said, okay, let's revamp the art style, let's revamp the animation style, and then let's make levels that are so unique and so creative and so out of the box with our thinking that you'll go to yourself, no one could have ever come up with, like, the most creative person in the world could never have made a level half this interesting in Super Mario Maker, let alone Nintendo having made this in a previous Mario game. Like, it's just so next level. And this is the thing that makes Nintendo special. They don't make good stories. They usually don't try to. Their games are not cinematic and narrative driven. Their games are not groundbreaking in terms of the graphics and the fidelity and the things like that. But they are just pure fun, mechanic driven, and full of new and unique ideas. I mean, you think of something like Mario, a game that's been around since 1985, and you think about just the next 2D Mario game in the year 2023 and how they managed to make something that was so exciting and so fresh and so unique and so creative all these years later that it rivals something just as good as God of War Ragnarok or The Last of Us whatever remake or Halo this or whatever, because it's just got that much charm and that much creativity and that much uniqueness and that much fun and mechanics and refinement driven experience behind it that it just creates this package that is infectiously, irresistibly incredible to play top to bottom from start to finish, or at least from start to World 3, which is where I'm at. And so I just got to say, I'm gushing over Mario Wonder. This game is, I'm struggling right now because, earlier in the year I was saying, I don't think I have like a favorite game of 2025 just yet. I think it was South of Midnight so far, but I don't think that's like a firm, definitive candidate rather. But after beating Metroid Dread finally, after playing Mario Wonder, I'm sorry, but come December when we do our favorite games played of the year, I'm a little worried that my list is going to be dominated by Nintendo. That's just going to be like Metroid Dread, Mario Wonder, Mario Kart World, assuming that's as good as it looks, Donkey Kong Bonanza, assuming that game is as good as it looks, Metroid Prime 4, assuming that game is as good as it looks. And like, I'm not trying to be a dick. I just at this current point in time, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck South of Midnight and Doom the Dark Ages are going to compete with this, and in the next Call of Duty. I don't know how these games are going to compete, because so far I'm 5 years away from Nintendo has left me with not only a lot to look forward to as the Switch 2 is launching imminently, but also just a lot of this back catalog of the Switch that is just so fucking good. And it's not all amazing. I'm playing Animal Crossing New Horizon. I like it. It's good. It's not the best Animal Crossing. In fact, it's probably my least favorite Animal Crossing. I think they kind of killed a little bit of the special sauce of Animal Crossing with what they try to do with this game with terraforming and crafting. And I prefer the small town vibe over the island vibe. I think they kind of got lost with this game a little bit, although I appreciate the attempt to do new things. But like, it's not all amazing. It's not like the Switch is the best thing ever. I've ragged on Switch for many years. Although I am really enjoying seeing the things I was wrong about and seeing the things that I just hadn't experienced that are special about the platform, which is that after those rough few years, 2018, 2019, where, the Switch was predominantly just like, oh, you didn't play the Wii U? Well, here's Wii U games on your Switch. They really did get around to releasing some pretty special games. And these past few weeks, I've really been getting to experience that firsthand with some of the games I've been playing. And just, dude, Mario Wonder is so good. But let's get into some listener questions real quick, and then we will get back to the news and talk about everything happening. So Objects in Space writes in and says, I almost wrote in the other week complaining about Oblivion getting a remaster instead of a remake, somehow thinking that they were going to get ripped off, that they were getting ripped off. Man, I'm so glad I didn't. I would have looked like an idiot. I guess the definitions have changed, and remaster doesn't always mean slightly updated graphics. Oh, one more year until GTA 6, by the way. It's definitely disappointing, but it'll be worth the wait for sure. Yeah, the thing about Oblivion is I was very confused about the definition of remaster versus remake, but I think once you play it, it makes more sense. Like, I feel much more comfortable with the use of remastered now that I put some hours into it and experienced, that like it might look like a remake, but it feels like a remaster, if that makes sense. And I mean that in the best way possible. But yeah, this is why you don't judge a book by its cover, right? The most famous saying of all time, right? Treat others the way your book would want to be judged by. Thank you for writing in Objects in Space. And the woke dead Captain James writes in and says, I forgot Towerborn was even a thing, LOL. Well, woke dead Captain James, you should give it a try because it's pretty cool. But we'll get back to that in a few weeks when all this travel and stuff this upcoming week ends. My priority is getting back to Oblivion and Mario Wonder because that's all I want to play. Although I am looking forward to, for the first time in 5 years, flying with a Nintendo Switch because, as someone who's kind of put their Switch on a shelf and let it rot for 5 years, my flights have been largely consumed by Kindles. I've just been listening to music and podcasts and reading Kindles on my the Kindle. I have one Kindle on flights. I've been flying a lot the past few years because all my family lives everywhere but home now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, playing some Animal Crossing and some Mario on the plane. I think that'll maybe make the flight a little more bearable. I fly Spirit 99% of the time, so, I need something to keep me from complete dread and misery. But no, that's I'm looking forward to it. So cool. I'm loving the games I'm playing right now. Really looking forward to more time with these games. And that's it for now, guys. So let's take a quick water break, come back, and talk about all the fucking crazy news topics that are in this week's roundup. All right, guys, let's jump into the news, starting with what I assume is the biggest of these three, at least for the world of Xbox. But I mean, all three of these are pretty huge. So Microsoft is raising the price of Xbox consoles globally and has announced that it will charge $80 for games starting later in the year. quote, this is what they said in a statement to IGN. We understand that these changes are challenging and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus our offerings on more ways to play more games across any screen, ensuring the value for Xbox players. Most notably, the price of Xbox Series X and Series S consoles has been increased by $180 respectively in the US. The UK appears to be one of the countries affected least by the increase, while the Series S has risen by British pounds. The Xbox Series X has only seen a £20 increase. Microsoft has provided the following list of revised pricing via the game business. So here's the US. Series S, the regular $300 version, is now $380. The 1 terabyte version, it went from $350 to $429. The Xbox Series X, the standard $500 version, now $600. The digital one that doesn't have a disk drive went from $450 to $550. And the 2 terabyte Galaxy Black Xbox Series X that was $600 is now $730. Yes, $30 more than a PlayStation 5 Pro. The Xbox controller, the regular controller, and the color controller, like the one that's like solid red or solid blue, those are the only thing that's staying like pretty much the same price. Except for, and also the Elite Wireless Controller Series 2. But the full version of the Elite Series 2 controller is going up $20. The special and limited edition controllers are going up $10. The headset is going up. The wireless headset is going up by $10, and the wired headset is staying the same at $65. So accessories and whatever, not a big deal. I'm not going to gripe on that and stick around talking about it for too long. But the consoles are going up by $80 if it's a Series S model and $100 if it's a Series X model. That's really all there is to really understand what's happening here. I in fact, until I looked at this, I didn't realize, wow, there are so many SKUs of these consoles available. There are 3 Series X's and 2 Series S's available on the market. So I think one of the things that's super important to note here is the prices are going up globally. And the reason this is such a huge deal is because while the PlayStation 5 has increased its prices globally not once but twice in the past 2 years, they raised the price of the PS5 in 2023, and then they did it again this year. PlayStation has held strong in the US, which is its most important market, and refused to increase the pricing. Now, Xbox is increasing the pricing here in the US, and you can argue that the Nintendo Switch 2's price was already kind of priced with inflation and tariffs and things like that in mind, which is why it's starting at $450 fucking dollars for the Switch 2. So when you look at those two consoles, Xbox, Nintendo, and we'll talk about Xbox because that's what we're here for. I mean, price has gone up substantially here in the US, whereas the PlayStation 5 remains at $450 for the regular version, or $400 for the regular version, $500 for the disc version, and $700 for the Pro model. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that, you know, this would have been one thing if Xbox raised their prices in other markets and held the same in the US. But the fact that they are also raising the prices here in the US is kind of the astonishing thing, because this is their core market. This is the majority of their market. But I think that's kind of why they had to raise the prices here, because while PlayStation has the luxury of being globally beloved and being available in all the markets and being competitive in all the markets, Xbox is only really competitive in English-speaking markets, and the US is by far the biggest one for them. So if they raise their prices in other countries but not the US, it's barely going to do anything to benefit them in any way. But if they do in the US, that's going to make all the difference. So they kind of have to. Whereas PlayStation can kind of offset needing to up the prices in the US by raising the price in Japan, Korea, the UK, Italy, France, Germany, everywhere else but the US, right? And so that's how we end up in this situation where Xbox prices in the US are now way higher than not way higher than the PlayStation, but have been risen, while PlayStation prices have stayed flat. And obviously this immediately looks horrible for Xbox, because, you know, the narrative is already out there. All these Xbox games are on PlayStation. We're about to talk about Gears of War coming to PlayStation. Game Pass numbers have mostly been flat. We're seeing that they're growing now, but they've mostly been flat. Xbox hardware, despite how cool the Series S and X are, not doing as well this generation as last generation. And last generation, everyone was talking about how it's not doing nearly as well as the generation before that. So the hardware's kind of been the shitter. And now this conversation's been percolating for a long time at this point, where it's like, how much longer is Xbox even going to stay in the hardware market? And now they're raising the price. So I understand why people are upset, and I totally get it. But I gotta say somewhat level-headed and cool about this, not because I'm here to defend price increases. This fucking sucks. I'm not here to defend it at all. I feel bad for people who are going to have to suffer at the hand of this, who were interested in buying an Xbox and now have been priced out or now having to reconsider other options because Microsoft just pissed them off by raising the prices. I feel for people in that situation. But here's the thing, and we talked about this. The more and more Xbox moves towards this approach of putting your games on all the platforms and being everywhere, the more and more Xbox hardware, if it is to stick around, is going to have to pivot into this and transition into this model of being an optional luxury premium device where if you want to play an Xbox game, you can play it on your PlayStation, you can play it on your Switch, you can play it on your PC, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on your tablet, you can play it on your TV. But if you want the ultimate from like the premier experience that is the most core, the most fully like vertically integrated with the software and the hardware and everything fully imagined the best way possible, you're going to want to buy an Xbox console and buy the game on that Xbox console and play it running natively on that hardware, right? So in order to do that, like a Microsoft Surface or like an iPhone or something, you got to have that be a premium priced product. So you're not going to sell 80 or 100 million Xbox Series consoles. You might only sell 20 or 30 million, but because you're going to sell way fewer of them to justify the R&D and the production and the existence of that hardware, you have to raise the price. On top of the fact that inflation's kicking everyone in the ass. On top of the fact that tariffs are kicking everyone in the ass, because that's another factor. As we know, Sony and Nintendo were importing Switch 2s and PS5s like crazy the past few months into the US with the understanding that these tariffs were going to fucking destroy the console market and make it really hard to get these things into the country. We haven't heard any reports that Microsoft's been doing anything like that. In fact, we know that Xbox manufactures far fewer Xboxes relative to what Sony and Nintendo manufacture on their consoles. So it's quite possible that Xbox doesn't have millions and millions of Series S's and X's lying around in Chinese warehouses that they can just ship to the US before tariffs take hold. It may be that they have to start manufacturing these consoles now, and by the time things are getting over here, tariffs are going to be in place, and they're going to expect it to be far more expensive to get that hardware into the country. And that could be another factor to the inflation or to the rising price. But here's the thing is, I'm seeing a lot of this like narrative that's like, oh, greedy Xbox, raising price to get more money out of people. It's like, no, that's not. Here's the thing is, I want to be on the side of the consumer always, because fuck the corporation. I don't care about Microsoft. Microsoft is a evil giant corporation that needs to be heavily regulated and taken down a fucking peg. They fucking suck. I'm not here to defend them. I don't love Satya Nadella. In fact, he's done a million things that make me hate him. I hate Microsoft's involvement with the U.S. military, their compliance with foreign governments and all the things that they do. They have an insane influence and power, and they use it for all the most selfish and wrong reasons 9 times out of 10. Microsoft fucking sucks, just like any corporation out there. So I just want to make it clear. This is not me trying to defend Microsoft. But at the end of the day, it is a very simple concept to grasp, and it makes me concerned for the general just intelligence level of the general population. When I scroll through social media and I just see rhetoric like, oh, Microsoft are so greedy, they didn't have to raise the price, but they chose to. Listen, just because you are rich as fuck like Microsoft does not mean you can just afford to sell things at a loss and operate things at a loss all the time. They are a massive corporation. They are the biggest corporation, and they answer to investors and shareholders. And they cannot get by just being like, we're just going to lose money on this all the time because Cocksucker69 on Twitter said that they think we're greedy motherfuckers and we shouldn't raise the price of the hardware. They cannot continue to have Xbox hardware sales drop precipitously among inflation, among these bullshit tariffs that are absolutely moronic the way they're being implemented, and then just not do anything about the pricing and eat shit on the hardware. It doesn't make business sense at all. We don't have to like the fact that the prices are going up, but we can't act Sorry for if this is offensive, but we cannot act completely mentally retarded about the logic behind these things. We can't conveniently forget the factors that contribute to it and the reasons why something like this might occur just for the convenience of being like, ooh, big corporation is just greedy. It's like, well, yeah, Microsoft's a greedy fucking corporation, but that's not what we're dealing with here. That's not the reason for what is going on here. Use your fucking brain for 2 seconds and realize Microsoft has more to gain in a perfect market by being at the most competitive low price point they could possibly be at to remain competitive with PlayStation than they have to gain by moving the price up to get more money. They're not being greedy. This is clearly what they have to do. This is a decision that was not made lightly. This is a decision that was made as a last-ditch attempt at a desperation to react to the market factors that are applying pressure to the hardware industry. Clearly. No fucking shit. Microsoft aren't stupid. They know that raising the price of the Series X by $100 is going to lose them sales of the console. They know fewer people are going to buy the console. The bet they are making, the numbers they have crunched, the data they have at their disposal indicates that raising the price, the backlash and loss of sales they will receive as a result of that decision will be offset by the increased income they will gain by raising the price of the console overall. It's not a guarantee, but the data and the numbers that they have crunched indicate that that is the best option for them in this buffet of terrible options they have at their disposal due to this horrible situation they find themselves in with inflation, with tariffs, with the fucking games industry being a big dumpster that is on fire right now. So we just got to be honest. You don't have to like it. I personally don't like it. I wish the Xbox Series X was $4.32. It would be great if it was as cheap as it could possibly be. I'm not saying defend the corporation, and I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying let's not do ourselves a disservice and insult our own capacity for critical thinking by being lazy and saying this is greed. Because this is not greed, you fucking idiot. And in fact, I'm sure Microsoft made this decision as a bet that once they raise the prices and once they say, hey, game prices are going up to $80, they're probably betting that since Nintendo took the first bullet and did this with the Switch 2 and with Mario Kart World, and now that we're doing it, Sony has every excuse to do the same and follow suit. In fact, they have every financial obligation to their shareholders to do the same thing and follow suit. So it would only make sense that in the next couple months, we're going to see PlayStation prices in the US go up. We're going to see PlayStation game prices go up. Now, is it going to be Ghost of Yotei? No, because they already opened pre-orders for that game and confirmed it was a $70 game. Now, is PlayStation pricing going to go up today? No, because they are the highest selling game console on the market, and they can afford to hold out a little bit longer because Sony is now also looking at the same shitty buffet of shitty options, having to make a decision, and they're weighing the odds of, okay, what is going to work out best for us? Do we eat shit on PlayStation for a little longer in the US market by not raising the prices and losing shit tons of money on every unit sold in hopes that it snuffs out the competition and drowns Xbox and fucking kills them? Or do we raise the prices because everyone else has done it and we can get away with it so we can sell our console at a profit, knowing that regardless of whether or not we raise the prices, people are going to overwhelmingly choose PlayStation over Xbox because we are the winning brand? And they have to weigh these options because there are pros and cons to both of them, and this is how businesses are run. There's a reason the Xbox Series S, the $300 version of the console, that is apparently so hardware constrained that it's pissing off developers, exists in the first place. And it's because Xbox has every financial incentive and every obligation and every imperative to try and get a console on the market that is as affordable as humanly possible to compete with the other options. That was the whole reason why the Series S exists, is because they said, if we can get a console at that $300 price point paired with the value of Game Pass, that would be a huge boon to the Xbox brand that would help us earn back some of the market share that we've lost to PlayStation. It was a bet and an educated decision based on data and information that they made back in 2020 that hasn't paid off for them, by the way, because they're still getting clobbered to PlayStation. People are still overwhelmingly choosing to pay $500 for a PlayStation and to buy their games a la carte just so that they can have a PlayStation and be in the cool kids club
and are foregoing the value-driven $300 Xbox with the $20 a month Game Pass mad crazy value that they would have if they went that route as well. So this is just how it works. Shitty things happen. Corporations have to react to market factors. They have to make tough decisions. And this is a tough decision that is clearly being driven by the rise in inflation that's fucking over everything. The Trump tariffs that are fucking over everything for the global economy. Once again, the U.S. having some petty-ass, moronic, retarded bullshit and dragging the rest of the goddamn universe down with them, right? And then all of that factors into, well, let's hope we can make it work with this shitty decision we have to make. We're left with a shitty choice. Let's see if we can make it work. And so I'm a little passionate about it because it's like, dude, this is one of those things where like immediately it ticked me off because I, as a consumer, should see the headline, Xbox prices are going up in the US. And I should be irritated like, oh, that fucking sucks, dude. I feel for the consumer. Like, that's crazy. This is the first time that the price of the console has gone up over time rather than down. This fucking sucks. Everything going on in the market sucks. I feel bad for the working families that, you know, struggling with raising house prices, rising rent costs, rising grocery prices, rising utility costs, and now even the little pleasures of life, you know, the cost going to the movie theater, playing a video game, all these little things, these little joys to make the mundanity and the bullshit and the hard parts of life a little less difficult. Now even that's becoming difficult. And that's how I should feel when I see a headline like that. But I can't really fully feel that way because before I can even have a chance to think that way, I'm just bombarded with the stupidity and idiocracy of the internet, of people being like, Xbox is so greedy. They're just trying to extract every penny out of the game. Oh my God, you fucking idiot, dude. How is this the level of discourse? How is this the best we can produce? You know? And maybe it's just the algorithm trying to make the dumbest voices rise to the top to incentivize, you know, rage clicks and engagement and things like that. Maybe that's all this is. But it's just, we got to talk about it, man. Like $80 video games, hot take again. I'm the guy that's in favor of it. I'm not in favor of games just blanket going up to $80. That's not what I'm advocating. I am the one who advocates the exploration of the pricing spectrum. I think a game like South of Midnight should be able to be $50, and a game like Doom: The Dark Ages should be able to be $60, and a game like Starfield should be able to be $80, and a game like Grand Theft Auto 6 should be able to be $90 or $100, and then a game like Donkey Kong should be able to be $50, and then $60 for this game, and whatever. I think we should be able to explore the pricing spectrum because not all games are created equal. Some games are made by teams of 30 people like Claire Expedition, and some games are made by teams of 1,200 people like Call of Duty. And we shouldn't just be like, well, it's a game, it's $70, fuck you. We should be able to have nuanced conversations about the time, the manpower, the resources that went into the product, and what the game should cost as a result of that labor, that time, and that investment. And that's all I'm saying. So Mr. Maug writes in and he says, Jesse, it's happening. Everything's going up in price again. $80 games, more experienced consoles and accessories. I think you mean more expensive consoles and accessories. Crazy that our 4.5-year-old console has already gone up in price. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I get it. It's always been the other way around. You get the Xbox 360, it's $300. And then if you wait a few years, there's the slim model for $200. I get it. I remember like when GameCubes dropped to $99. That's how I got my Nintendo GameCube after years of drooling over one. I got one because finally they one day dropped to $100. And when the price tag says $99, you know, it made my parents go, okay, we can probably get Jesse one of those for his birthday now. I get it. That's how it's traditionally worked. You wait it out and you're rewarded with a lower price. But you know what? The GameCube and the Xbox 360 and all these things didn't release during the time period of this economy and this inflation and the results of this pandemic and the results of this corporate greed that have fucked the world over the past 5 years and the absolutely moronic, counterproductive, economic destroying tariffs that are, you know, could be used strategically into an advantage of something that could help this country, but are just pissing off what's left of our allies and bringing down everyone else's economy with us. So I don't know what to say. It's clearly different times call for, you know, different circumstances. You can't just be, and this isn't to say you, Mr. Maug, but like you, like the royal you can't just be blanket mad because a pattern didn't repeat. If a pattern stops repeating, it's because something changed to make that pattern stop repeating, you know? It's the reason why, you know, I bitched about the Nintendo Switch for so long, just being a fucking Wii U port house, is because no one bought the goddamn Wii U. So Nintendo said, hey, we put a bunch of money into making these games that no one's ever played, and now we have this new console people actually give a shit about. Let's put the games over there and see if we can finally sell them, you know? And for me, the rare person that played the Wii U, I'm like, this is bullshit. This is redundant. But to most people, it was like, hey, this is great. New Mario Kart, you know? And it's one of those things where it's like, why do certain things that aren't precedented happen? Why do unprecedented things happen? Because life isn't always 100% predictable. Things change, things happen. And right now we're just going through a tough time where, unfortunately, inflation's out of control. Unfortunately, tariffs are scaring the fuck out of all these businesses and industry. I work in an industry where we very much deal with goods being imported and moved around, and we're seeing ports dry up and there being no truckloads for people to take and just things changing as a result of the fact that corporations are afraid to import and export shit right now because of who knows what the fuck's going to happen with these tariffs. And we have decision makers in charge who they don't know what's happening because they're making shit up every fucking second of every day as they go along. And they're playing with fire, and we're all sitting here just like, it was one thing when they told gay people they can't be gay, but now they took my Xbox away from me and I'm very pissed off. It's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. You know, working class Americans, they need affordable housing. You know, we need grocery prices to go down. I think fuel prices are actually kind of reasonable and people are always bitching about them, but you know, fuel prices could go down. It'd be a nice thing that we could use. We need to focus on our failing education system. We need to focus on our homeless population that's incredibly easy to solve, but we refuse to do anything about it. We need to focus on the fact that we have starving children in this country, even though we're the wealthiest nation in the world. We need to focus on these things, but all we can fucking focus on is trying to make our dicks look as artificially big as humanly possible, and then we only react when our Xboxes go up by $80. We can't react. We can't react when we're deporting U.S. citizens and putting them in internment camps. We can't react when someone uses free speech to say something you don't like, and then we kick them out of our own fucking country. But when our Xbox games get a little more expensive, oh, now we got a fucking problem, boy. I'm sorry, not to get all political, although I really don't give a shit. I don't know. I'm a human. I'm allowed to get upset over things. And I think it's pretty reasonable to get upset over human rights being infringed upon and people being mistreated and harmed by their government. So apologies if that rubs you the wrong way. Go fuck yourself. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know, man. It's like, it does suck. And here's the thing is, this is an Xbox podcast, which means if you're listening to it, you're probably an Xbox fan. And if you're an Xbox fan, chances are you probably fucking have an Xbox Series S or X. So here's the craziest part of all. This price increase doesn't even affect 99% of people listening to this podcast. There you go. It does affect some other people, and it sucks for them. And I'm not saying I don't feel for them, because I do. I don't want anyone to have to deal with that. But it's like, yeah, all right. Tell me about how pissed you are about your Xbox Series X going up $100 as you look at your fucking collection of 3 Xboxes behind you, you know? And then the other thing is, this also just kind of reaffirms the thing I've been saying is going to happen to Xbox for a long time. The hardware sales are declining. The hardware is becoming this optional boutique luxury item you can purchase, but is not necessary by any stretch of the imagination. So what's going to happen? The cost of the console is going to be more expensive. Now, I didn't foresee them raising the cost of the current console, I'll admit, but I assumed that this was going to be the case for the next generation of Xbox, that the successor to the Series X was probably going to be an $800 or $900 console. So so far, everything's kind of checking out with what I expected and assumed. So I'm not trying to be callous and inconsiderate. You know, I recognize that I am, you know, I'm not well off by any stretch of the imagination or wealthy, but I am in a great position relatively, considering the fact that so many people in my country are struggling financially, and I'm blessed to not have children, which would be a huge financial impedance on my life, and I'm blessed to own a house or part of a house while the bank owns the majority of it. And I'm blessed to have a job like the one I have that pays me what it pays me. Like I realize, like, I am very blessed and I am very fortunate to have the life I've worked hard for. And I don't want to be inconsiderate of the people who have less than me, especially because, you know, I have people in my life who struggle financially, and I grew up in a family that struggled financially, and I know what it's like to not have shit. And so it's like my heart and my feelings always first go towards the people who this sucks for, the people who are financially struggling. But at the end of the day, there are way bigger problems happening right now than the fact that your Xbox just went up $80 to $100, or that the next video game you purchase is going to be $10 more expensive than it would have been if you bought it a year ago. I mean, every dollar helps, and people need to be very savvy and very smart with their money and very conservative with their money. I support that, and I think it's great. But at the end of the day, if the straw that broke the camel's back and everything that's going on in the global economy, everything that's going on in the world right now, if the straw that broke the camel's back for you is that Mario Kart costs $10 more than it would have if it came out a year ago, or the Xbox costs $80 more than it cost a year ago, it's like, priorities are a little fucking whack, don't you think? When you can't get out of the grocery store for a family of 4 for less than $200, you know? When you can't fucking buy a house for under $400,000, when you can't get an interest rate on a house for under 7-8%, you know? When your government is selling housing and assets to foreign governments and corporations and slashing funding and programs to assist people who are financially struggling, or veterans or teachers and people like that, then it's like, I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. The Xbox being a little bit more expensive is kind of not even remotely the most important thing going on right now. But I do recognize that this is an Xbox podcast, so we should probably keep the conversation locked to Xbox. And I guess if that's all we're going to do, then I just got to be honest. It sucks. But I just don't know why other people aren't why people are so surprised that this is what's happening. And I'll end on this. I think all eyes are on Sony now. How long can or does Sony choose to hold out before they inevitably raise prices as well? Because they could do it tomorrow and no one would bat an eye. But oh man, they have such a great opportunity to strangle Xbox even more as they continue to sell Xbox games like crazy on PlayStation. They have such an opportunity to fuck Xbox even harder by being like, nope, we're not touching our prices in the US. That's our most important market. We want to see Xbox die. And so I think there's a good chance Sony tries to hold out for quite a while before they do shit about this. And that'll be crazy. But guys, let's end that conversation because there's so many things happening right now. Including Gears of War. It's officially coming to PlayStation, speaking of the fact that Xbox is dying, seemingly so. Yeah, I mean, this is, on any other week, this would be a massive news story. I mean, this is one of the things that people have talked about forever. Gears of War is a franchise that is 20 years old, and people have been speculating about Gears of War coming to PlayStation since I was on the 7th grade school bus. So I very much am familiar with this conversation, this rumor, this murmur, this what if. And this week, it finally became a reality. Gears of War is officially coming to the PlayStation 5. Gears of War Reloaded has been announced to come out this August for Xbox Series, PC, and PlayStation 5. Microsoft announced that Gears of War franchise will debut on the console for the first time after almost 20 years of the game franchise existing. Gears of War Reloaded is a modernized version of the original Gears of War game and features the improvements of the Gears of War Ultimate Edition plus some modern performance boosts. Gears of War Reloaded will release on August 26th for $40 US. This is what I'm talking about. Exploring the pricing structure, the spectrum of pricing. A re-release of Gears of War, $40. Doesn't need to be $80, but maybe when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, $80 is probably a pretty good price for a game that took 10 years, 1 million people to create, and let's be honest, you're going to play it for 1,500 hours, so shut the fuck up and stop complaining. Game will also, of course, be available on Game Pass day one. Xbox players who own the digital version of Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which was released in, 2015, will receive a free upgrade to Gears of War Reloaded, so make good for Xbox players, of course. And then, yeah, so the game supports 4K, 120 FPS, the full multiplayer suite, so it's not just the campaign, which some were speculating that would be the case. The third-person shooter was developed by Epic Games, the Fortnite guys, was released in 2006 for the Xbox 360. The game was, again, released in 2015 as the Ultimate Edition on Xbox One. Microsoft announced the next mainline entry of the Gears of War series last summer at their showcase called Gears E-Day. Okay. Again, very similar to the last story. It's like, I want to react to what's happening, how crazy it is that, the pillars are fallen. Forza's on PlayStation. Now Gears of War is on PlayStation. Halo, you are next. There is no one else around you. There are no more meat shields to cover yourself in. Master Chief, we will see you running on a PlayStation very, very, very soon. In fact, Master Chief is probably already running on a PlayStation. We just haven't gotten an announcement yet. And it's probably that reimagining of Halo Combat of all of that the new Halo company is working on, which is so goofy, but whatever. Let's talk about Gears of War. So, again, I was taken aback because the discourse is like, oh my God, we want Gears 2. We want Gears 3. This is so stupid, Xbox. Why are you doing this? Well, it's like, no, dude, shut up. Stop. Think critically for a goddamn second. Right now, the Coalition and People Can Fly are very busy making Gears E-Day. So this isn't we're remastering Gears 2 and Gears 3 and we're bringing it all over to PlayStation. This is, we just want to take the original Gears of War and put it on PlayStation because it will be a huge boon for us. And notice the release date of August, by the way, which means that's the beginning of fiscal quarter 1 for Microsoft, which means this is going to be like their kickoff for fiscal year 26 for Xbox. They want to kick it off strong. That's why they're going to hold Gears of War till August, by the way, just in case you're wondering about that. But this is clearly this creation is not how can we bring Gears of War forward for Xbox players. This was entirely driven by how can we bring Gears of War to PlayStation. So they took the Ultimate Edition that came out in 2015 and they ported it over to PlayStation. They bumped it up a little bit so it runs at 4K, 120 FPS, which is much easier to do on the PS5 than it was on the Xbox One. Okay, easy. But they can't just move it to PlayStation 5 and ignore Xbox players when Xbox players haven't had Gears of War since Gears of War 5 in 2019. And, you know, they've just kind of neglected the franchise on Xbox for so long. So, of course, we're not just doing this on PlayStation only. Let's also do something for Xbox because we got to feed our base as well. So, like, okay, well, we'll take this half-assed update of a game that's already an update of a game that released in 2006, and we'll also give it to Xbox. If you don't already have it, it's $40. If you bought that updated version of it in 2015, here it's a free upgrade, whatever. Basically, it's lip service for the Xbox people, so they have an excuse to bring this game to PlayStation for the first time. So all the people who are saying, where's Gears 2? There should be a bundle with Gears 3 and Gears 2. It's like, no, idiot. This is just a decision to put Gears of War on PlayStation. They just have to throw Xbox a bone to justify the move. Obviously, we will then get a Gears of War 2. That will be a proper remaster, and that will release on both platforms. Then they'll do it with Gears of War 3. When you have a franchise that is this lucrative, this beloved, and in a moment that is this monumental as bringing Gears of War to PlayStation for the first time, you don't just blow your wad in one go and say, here's all 3 games in one package for $40. Bye. You got to milk that shit, man. So obviously what they're gonna do is sell you Gears of War 1 on PlayStation and make tons and tons of money and sell millions and millions of copies and get rich off of it. And then they're going to take their time to do it again with Gears 2. Then they're going to take their time and do it again with Gears 3. Why would they sell it one time as a package when they could just milk the fuck out of this 3 times in a row? No shit. So all the people saying, we want Gears 2. We already had a Gears of War remaster. We want Gears 2. It's like, I know. But this isn't really about the Xbox community right now. This is about serving the PlayStation community. And unfortunately, when you have to support all the platforms and all the places because that's what Xbox has become, sometimes Xbox doesn't come first. So we're not getting a re-release of Gears of War. We're getting a bone so PlayStation can get Gears of War for the first time. I just want to make that clear, that this is clear. This is like so obviously what's happening. But if you're holding out for Gears of War 2 and 3 remastered, don't fret. I'm sure you will get them. But right now the focus is on Gears E-Day. This will be a great way to incentivize people to be like, oh, wow, that new Gears E-Day looks really good. I'm on PlayStation. I don't have an Xbox. And then the Gears E-Day will come out. And they'll be like, it's only available on Xbox and PC, and you can get it through Game Pass. And PlayStation players will be like, oh, man, that looks so good. And then 6 months later, they'll be like, and now it's on PlayStation. I'll be like, oh, never mind. We don't have to buy an Xbox. And that's probably how this is going to play out. I still am a little befuddled by Xbox's decision on how they handle these things. Where it's like, dude, you could keep on an Xbox for a year. You could just do so much more. You could be like, make it, I don't know, more expensive on PlayStation. You could do so much to try and incentivize people to come over to Xbox, but they don't. They clearly would rather sell a PlayStation player a full price game than get you to subscribe to Game Pass, because Game Pass doesn't make them any money, but PlayStation does. So just absolutely wild. It's crazy to think that Marcus Phoenix is going to be a playable character on PlayStation pretty fucking soon. I mean, that's like Kratos being on Xbox. It's just that fucking crazy. So,
definitely end of an era, a sign that things are changing. I know we've said this many times before, but I mean, Gears of War was a huge, Forza Horizon, that was a huge shift. Gears of War is like that times 3. And when Halo comes out, it'll be like that times 3. So it's just wild to see it. As someone who came up during the Xbox 360 years, I know this is where Xbox has been trending, but it is wild to see such a beloved, coveted, exclusive Xbox game. I mean, this is like watching Sonic come to Nintendo. It's just so crazy. But anyway, guys, that's not even the last crazy story, because there's another one, and it's probably the one that most people give a shit about, which is Grand Theft Auto 6 has officially been delayed. Woo! I guess we all should have seen this coming a little sooner. I'll be honest, I definitely didn't. I thought this game was coming out this year. I was dead wrong about it, but it got delayed all the way to May 26th of 2026, so it's a full year and a few weeks away from launch now. So, here's the announcement. Hi, everyone. This is from social media. Grand Theft Auto 6 is now set for release on May 26, 2026. We're very sorry about this. We are very sorry that this is later than you expected. The interest and excitement surrounding the new Grand Theft Auto has truly been humbling for our entire team. We want to thank you for the support and your patience as we work to finish the game. With every game we have released, the goal has always been to try and exceed your expectations, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is no exception. We hope you understand that we need this extra time to deliver at the level and quality that you expect and deserve. We look forward to sharing more information with you soon. Not only that, but after this announcement of a delay, Rockstar released the second trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6, which already has like 150 million views or something online. It's insane. The trailer introduces the game's dual protagonists and establishes the story of the game. GTA 6 takes place in Vice City, which has famously appeared in Grand Theft Auto Vice City for PS2. This is the synopsis. Quote, Jason and Lucia have always known the deck is stacked against them, reads the synopsis. But when the easy score goes wrong, they find themselves in the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, Florida, forced to rely on each other for more than ever if they want to make it out alive. Jason grew up as a grifter around grifters and crooks. After a stint in the army trying to shake off his troubled teens, he found himself in the Keys doing what he knows best, working for local drug runners. It might be time to try something new. Meeting Lucia could be the best or worst thing that ever happened to him. Jason knows he'd like to turn it all around, but right now it's hard to tell. Lucia's father taught her to fight as soon as she could walk. Life has been coming at her swinging ever since. Fighting for her family landed her in the Leonida Penitentiary. Sheer luck got her out. Lucia's learned her lesson. Only smart moves from here. More than anything, though, she wants a good life for her mom that she dreamed of in her days in Liberty City. I love that this is a story about a New York transplant in Florida. Like, what, so fucking accurate. But instead of a half-baked fantasy, Lucia is prepared to take matters into her own hands. Fresh out of prison and ready to change the odds in her favor, Lucia is committed to her plan no matter what it takes. The trailer features the song Hot Together by the Pointer Sisters, which is probably the highest streamed song right now on Spotify. And most importantly here, the end of the trailer states on the bottom that the footage of the trailer is captured via PlayStation 5. So that right there tells you all the Grand Theft Auto 6 marketing and everything is going to be associated with PS5, which is a huge fucking win for Sony and a huge loss for Xbox. So not surprising, but now we have the confirmation. So guys, Grand Theft Auto 6, I guess a lot of people were kind of saying that they had a hunch this game was going to get delayed. I'll be honest, I did not see that coming. I really, really thought they were going to be like, we'll announce the release date probably 2 months out and just fucking make all the money in the world. But no, it's delayed a full fucking year. So here we go. I don't personally care because there's so many good games to play. And while I think, the trailer got me excited, I think the game looks great. And I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto 6. It's like, yeah, it's going to be a great game, but like there are so many other fucking games, dude. Are you telling me that you don't have a million? Listen, I understand if you're the kind of guy that just plays Call of Duty and 2K and Madden and Grand Theft Auto, and those are like the 3 or 4 games you play and nothing else, you're bummed out right now, reasonably so, because like 85% of your video games just got delayed again. But if you're like a gamer, like the people that listen to this podcast, it's like, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 got delayed a year. That sucks, but like, the game will be better for it. And I'll just play Expedition 33 and Oblivion Remastered and Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World and Doom the Dark Ages and Call of Duty and all these other games and the fucking Gears of War PlayStation port and all these many other games you can play. Plus, as we learned the other week on the podcast, what is it? 1 in every 10 video game minutes spent is Fortnite. So let's be honest, you motherfuckers are just playing Fortnite anyway. You're not even playing other video games. So like, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6, reasonable to be disappointed. Listen, I understand people are looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to Fantastic Four and then next year the new Avengers movie. If those got delayed, I'd be bummed out. I get the feeling, I can relate. But you know, a delayed game is bad forever. A bad game is delayed in our hearts, or whatever Miyamoto said that one time he was at Comic-Con, blazed out of his fucking mind. But anyway, so yeah, there we go. Grand Theft Auto 6 officially delayed. Cronky writes in with a funny point and says, dude, GTA got delayed. Every game this year moved its dates around to avoid Grand Theft Auto. That's so funny. Seriously, though, this is 1 or 2 games will still be releasing in Q3 or Q4. Those games are going to make a killing now since they have zero competition. Well, I think you'll see a lot of games get moved up and moved around and announced release dates now that Grand Theft Auto is out of the way. And Take-Two says that they're still going to have a record-breaking year between Borderlands and Mafia: The Old Country. So they're still expecting to do quite well without GTA, and then they'll just have an amazing year next year because of GTA. So whatever, it's all going to work out for them, but yeah, I think. Hang on, they delayed GTA a full month before Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase and all that. So there's still plenty of time for other people to put release dates on their games for this year. So I don't think this is going to be a dry fall now as a result of this. EA is talking about Battlefield 4 coming out soon, and they think it's going to do great without Grand Theft Auto in the way, and that's supposed to release either this fall or early next spring, so maybe winter time. So, we got that coming out. So there are plenty of other games to look forward to, plenty of other games to play. And God, I don't know, man. Like, I wouldn't say relieved because I was planning on making the time for Grand Theft Auto this fall. I was definitely going to give this game a go right when it came out. So I'm not going to say like I'm relieved because I was anticipating playing this game soon. But whatever. I can easily wait. There's just so much good shit taking our time. Now, let's talk about the game itself for a little bit. This trailer's here. The game looks fucking fantastic. I can't help but admit there are a lot of low shots on the rear of characters in this gameplay trailer, which ends up just resulting in seeing a lot of booties. I don't know why there's so many butt shots in this trailer, but visually the game looks phenomenal graphically. There's some shots where I'm like, it kind of looks like a modern generation game. And then there's some shots where I'm like, that looks incredible. Looks really, really good. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's more Grand Theft Auto. The story sounds interesting and compelling. Maybe because I'm a Floridian now, this sounds close to home because these two people sound like everyone in this goddamn state. So it seems relevant, but no, I mean, it just looks great. GTA Vice City was my favorite Grand Theft Auto back on PS2. And while this looks nothing like that game whatsoever, the idea of getting to go back to Vice City, although this is modern days and not the 1980s, it's still really exciting. I think it's going to be cool to get a huge refreshing taste of something other than the Southern California thing, and to see them get to rag on the New York snowbirds and the Floridians and all the cultures of Florida and all the crazy shit that happens in Florida. And they got the Florida man, they got the drugs, and they got the Caribbean mixed with the Southern, mixed with the Northern, and see them like make fun of all that shit mixed with the crazy gun-loving Americans and the strippers and stuff. I'm excited to see it. I hope the game is raunchy. I hope it's offensive. I hope it's funny, poignant commentary on American culture. And on top of all that, I hope it's fun as shit. I thought GTA 5 really upped the ante in terms of the campaign. I thought those heist missions were fucking awesome. I thought the characters were interesting. I was pretty invested in GTA 5's campaign, and I suspect that this one will be even better. I have no fucks or interest whatsoever in Grand Theft Auto Online, so to me, it's all about that core single player experience. And it reminded me watching this trailer. It's like, yeah, it's been a while. I mean, it's been a while since Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, so I'm excited to get a Grand Theft Auto game for the first time in a long time. September 2013 is when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. So by the time May 2026 rolls around, I mean, damn, dude, it'll be roughly 13 years between Grand Theft Auto games. That's absolutely insane. That's like 2 console generations worth of time. But I think people are going to be surprised. I understand the hype is going to be
overwhelmingly through the roof. And I shouldn't say surprised. I think people are going to be surprised. I think the game will be able to meet the expectations that players will have for it. And I think that is exciting because this is one of those projects where no matter how long people wait for it, no matter how much people want it, no matter how excruciating the wait can be for some people, I think it's one of those things where you just know the end result is going to be worth the wait. And I think for that reason alone, pretty fucking cool. So, guys, that's Grand Theft Auto 6. Happy Mario wrote in and says, "Hi, Jesse. What a week. Xbox is raising prices of their consoles and games, just waiting for an increase in Game Pass. Gears of War is coming to PlayStation 5. As Xbox owners, what do you think about the next Xbox console? Is it really going to be worth it? Looks like Xbox didn't really want us to buy them anymore, so they have an excuse to pull out of the hardware market. Just watched the GTA 6 trailer, and wow, it looks amazing. Less than a month away from the Switch 2. Glad you got yours pre-ordered, all 2 of them." So lots of things to address here. Happy Mario 64. And I will say, first of all, I don't have 2 Switches pre-ordered anymore. I canceled one of them, the one that was not the bundle that was scheduled to be delivered to my old apartment I haven't lived in for 2 years. I canceled that one because nobody I know needed a Switch pre-order. So I gave it a week, made sure my other one didn't get canceled, made sure everything was locked in and good to go, and then I canceled that pre-order. So I only have 1 Switch 2 pre-order. I don't want to hold other people back from being able to get their Nintendo Switch 2, so I canceled that. I'm trying to do the right thing. Okay, thank you. Now, yeah, GTA 6 looks great. We just talked about that. I think it looks phenomenal. But let's talk about a couple things real quick. So you mentioned a price increase for Game Pass. Yeah, man, Game Pass is due for a price increase probably in the next couple months or in a year at the latest. I know people are going to bitch and complain because Game Pass Ultimate used to be $15 or $17 or whatever. Listen, that's not how this works. Get them in low, raise the price over time, kill them with the value, make it hard for them to leave. That is the plan here. That's how subscriptions work. Game Pass was never going to be profitable at $15 a month. The idea, I think the sweet spot for Game Pass is going to be somewhere in the $30 to $40 range a month. I think it's pretty reasonable to think that the next Game Pass increase is going to be $25 a month for Ultimate. And to be honest, that's still a good value. When you look at the games that have come out, South of Midnight, Avowed, Atomfall, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, Doom the Dark Ages. I mean, we got like a couple $100 in value right there. Oblivion Remastered. We got a couple $100 of value right there in just a few months' time, plus all the other games that are on the service. So, I mean, Game Pass is definitely worth the money. But again, I know the problem is consumers are so willing to buy into something and then naively just believe things are always going to stay the same. It's like, have we not learned from Netflix and from other subscription services that this is not how the game is played? Netflix cannot be $7 forever. They got to make money someday. That's why Netflix is expensive now. Xbox Game Pass cannot be $15 forever. It has to make money at some point, so they got to up the price. It was never profitable at $15, and the people who convinced themselves it was were just lying to themselves and just setting themselves up for disappointment. So that's the thing, and you got to be honest with yourself. You know, if you're someone who wants to play all these games, if you're someone who where at least 2/3 of the games coming out right now are for you, between Claire, Obscure, Doom, Oblivion, Avowed, all these games, then Game Pass is still a really compelling and strong value. If you're someone who's maybe one of those games is good for you and everything else is a waste of time, unsubscribe to Game Pass and go buy games a la carte. It's going to be a better value for you. But the reality of it all is that it was never going to be cheap forever. It was a get you in the door thing, get you addicted to the service thing, and when they work things out and get more people in the door, then they can kind of raise the price. And that was always the plan. So be ready for that. Now, as Xbox owners, what do we think about the next console is really going to be? If it's going to be worth it? Yeah, I think it's going to be worth it. I am, like I said, when this all started with Xbox going to PlayStation, as long as they make the hardware, as long as I can get that superior controller, that dashboard and UI experience I prefer, that achievement system I prefer, the Xbox system I prefer, that whole experience and ecosystem. As long as that's an option, I will pay $700, $800, $900. I'll pay $1,000 for the next generation of Xbox. I will gladly pay it because I think about how in 2020 I bought an Xbox Series X for $500, and that console is supposed to get me till at least 2027. 7 years for a $500 box. That is pennies in terms of value. In terms of the amount of money I spent on that, it's like pennies. For how much value and fun I'm getting out of that, how many hours of enjoyment I'm getting out of my Xbox. I mean, think about it like this. God, God, I'm so dumb with math. $500 divided by 7, you know, it's like $70 a year is your Xbox if you keep it for 7 years. I think $70 a year for that hardware is amazing value for all the games I've played on it, for all the Game Pass value I've been able to get out of it. I just think it's a phenomenal value. And so, yeah, if it was $1,000 for the next Xbox for another 6 to 8 years of all my favorite games I play on Xbox in that ecosystem with that controller on that platform, I will gladly pay that price. I think it's worth it. I think consoles are incredibly affordable, relatively speaking, and historically speaking. I think gaming is an incredibly affordable hobby, relatively speaking. It's just like, I think about all the other hobbies that are out there, all the other things that are so expensive in this world. In the grand scheme of things, I mean, you can't go to dinner for less than $100 for 2 people. You can't go to the grocery store for less than $200 for a week of groceries. You can't go, you can't get a house. You can't get a mortgage for under $3,000. You know, you can't do shit, dude. You can't go to the movie theater for under $30-$50, depending on tickets and popcorn. It's like, I just think buying a console once every 6 to 8 years and buying like 2 or 3 video games a year or subscribing to a service like Game Pass, it's just so astronomically value driven and so reasonably priced, even with these price increases, when you just think about how much bang for your buck, how much time you can spend, how much value you get out of these games, out of these consoles for all those years. And so, yeah, do price increases suck? Yeah. Is the value gone? Not even close. That's why when everyone was bitching and moaning, oh my God, the Switch 2, oh my God, Mario Kart's $80, I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I think Mario Kart World is going to be worth every fucking penny of $80. When people are pouring 200, 300, 500 hours into that game over the course of a generation, I think it's worth every fucking penny of $80. And yeah, the Switch 2 is $450. Great. That's great value. That's great value for a console you're going to play for the next generation. I don't know what else to tell you at this point. You know, I went to the mall the other day because my girlfriend wanted to look at some jeans that were on sale. I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a shirt. I haven't gotten a shirt in so long. I was like, fuck, I can't get a shirt for under $45, $50. Like, what the hell? And I don't even shop at expensive stores. Fuck that. I didn't even get a shirt because it's like, what the hell, man? But I can buy like every fucking Darksiders and Metro game and Mass Effect game on sale on my Xbox digitally for like $13 in a fucking popsicle. Like, it's insane, the value of video games. It's insane. And if you're one of those people that shops for sales or does subscription services, the value is just out of this world. So the problem is, like, I feel for the people who are rubbed the wrong way by the pricing or who are severely affected by the pricing. But while I don't love the price increases, I just don't think this is the end of the world. And I think with where things are headed and the decisions that have to be made, this is fine. There are way worse things happening. And I don't know. I don't want to sound like a broken record, so I'll shut up. But to me, the biggest news this week, the thing that rubbed me the wrong way the most or hurt me the most, I'll be honest, as someone who understands the pricing situation and the inflation in the market, as someone who is very excited for Grand Theft Auto 6, but is not dying for Grand Theft Auto 6, I'll be honest, the thing that got me the most this week was just finally seeing the headlines. Gears of War is coming to PlayStation. What a fucking time, dude. What a weird world we live in. It's just wild. But guys, let's wrap up the podcast. Fuck, man. Let's talk about some Game Pass things real quick, and I'll keep this brief. Just so you know, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and what was the other one? And Revenge of the Savage Planet, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants Unleashed are all in Game Pass as of now, as the time you're listening to this. And then coming soon to Game Pass on May 13th, Warhammer Vermintide 2. On May 15th, next, what is that, like a week or two? What is it, 2 weeks? When is May 15th? Holy shit, it's next Thursday. Doom the Dark Ages? Fuck me, man. And then Police Simulator and Firefighter Simulator come out on May 20th. So, God, so many games. And then on May 15th, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, Dune Spice Wars, which I thought just came, The Big Con, Haunty, and Chance of Sinar all leave Game Pass, so give them a try while you still got a chance. Let's wrap up real quick with some important enough news stories, important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant their own discussions. Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered is the 3rd best-selling game of the year in the U.S. already in just a few weeks.
which is massive, behind only Monster Hunter Wilds and Assassin's Creed Shadows. What a huge win for Xbox and Bethesda. Next up, EA has confirmed that the release of the next Battlefield game will be before March 2026. So either this fall or this winter. And they have a public reveal due to take place this summer, probably Summer Game Fest. So look forward to that. I think they also said that Skate is supposed to enter early access sometime this year as well. Next up, EA also said that Split Fiction, their recent co-op action game, has already sold nearly 4 million copies, and they're working on film rights to it, like a film version of it. And then lastly, Saber Interactive has confirmed that it will be delisting Evil Dead the game after fans have noticed it started disappearing from storefronts this week. So it's already off of PlayStation, but it's still on Xbox. They confirmed that the game will still be playable online, but they're going to delist it so you can't purchase it anymore. That probably has everything to do with licensing of the Evil Dead IP and not the actual game itself. But yeah, I mean, I bought that game. It only came out like 2 or 3 years ago. It was a pretty cool game, actually. I just didn't play it that much. But yeah, give it a purchase right now if you still want to get it, because it's probably going to be gone pretty damn soon. But guys, that is going to do it for our whole podcast this week. No other comments because we just read a bunch of comments throughout the show, and it's been going very long. So I got to get this thing edited and in the can for tomorrow. Let me know if you're not seeing the podcast pop up on other podcast services. I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to get this podcast where they enjoy listening to podcasts. So I appreciate that feedback, Compassionate Choice. And to everyone, I just want to say, thank you for listening. I know I get heated. I like having fun with it, but, yeah, I don't mean to be callous or sensitive about the things that are going on. I understand times were tough and I'm very sensitive to that. But I cannot stand like the brain dead lack of critical thinking that people choose to do for engagement and rage on the internet. And it's like, we got to be better than that, man. We can be dissatisfied with the way things are going, but we can't be complete idiots about it. Like we gotta have the ability to think about the factors affecting the situations and what that might mean and what might be causing it, what it might, why these decisions are being made. It's not this is not, greedy Microsoft just wants more money from people when they buy an Xbox. It's like, no, man, they're already not selling Xboxes. They wouldn't raise the price unless they had to. Don't be that stupid. Come on, man. We're better than that. We can think with more brain cells than zero, right? But anyway, I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great week. I hope you get some good gaming time in. Enjoy your Oblivion Remastered and all that. Get it in, because next fucking weekend you'll be playing Doom the Dark Ages, because Xbox just can't stop shitting out games. Great games left and right. But yeah, until next week, be safe, take care, enjoy yourselves, and power your dreams.